city, the iconic Table Mountain, not too far from where we are at the moment. And Cape Townians alive and well and wide awake now. Many of them headed back to work after yesterday. I'm afraid the long weekend is over, so it's back to reality for most of us. And as of Friday, though, you might be able to take the day off because we have another holiday coming up. But the work here at the Cape Town International Convention Centre continues. It's a 3-day conference that looks at science, technology, gender issues, and now we're going to focus on numbers or statistics. And I'm joined by Dr. Arul Naidoo. He's the Executive Manager, Head of Marketing at Stats SA. Doc, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers.
A very interesting topic that we're going to be focusing now. The issue of access to reliable information to ensure transformative change, not only in South Africa, but across the continent. Speak to us about that.
Yeah, thank you. I think we have a wealth of information that is available, especially from Census 2011, but unfortunately a lot of this data gets to the people, and we are very proud to be here as Statistics South Africa. Our task mainly is to make the census data available to all the delegates. We would load it on their laptops and we will show them the information on gender. What is very interesting is that most people think that, for example, girls are dropping out of school, but Census 2011 statistics shows that more girls are passing grade 11 than grade 12. And if you go on to universities, at the moment there are more women who are graduating with bachelor's degrees and with honors degrees. And
it was extremely interesting what you also said. Sorry to interrupt you there, but perhaps you can continue your thought and also allude to this next question. You had mentioned that the information is there, but that perhaps it's not being utilized adequately enough.
Yes, that is quite correct. I think Stats SA Marketing Division needs to do a little bit more to make the information available to the public. On the one hand, while I agree that our information might not be very timely and very accurate and the data quality issues, but I do not think people are using the data, the available data that's out there at the moment. For example, in the 2011 census, we have the country broken down into 85,000 pockets of land, and for each of these we can give you 75 variables. And this is a wealth of information that can help evidence-based decision making.
When it comes to gender issues, one example as well is women in agriculture. Some people didn't know that women play a very leading role when it comes to the provision of food, but because perhaps they don't own the land or perhaps they're not formalized, employed or formally employed in the sector, that they don't receive a lot of funding or notice because of such issues. But the role of women in statistics and the importance thereof.
Yes, I think again coming back to census, we can give you the data to show you at the rural communities, at the farms and the villages, how many women there are and whether they're employed or unemployed. We do find that in the urban areas there are more men that are employed than women, but in the rural communities there's a number of women that are involved in the informal sector.
Indeed. And also speak to us then now about some of the challenges. You had alluded to them a little bit earlier, that perhaps Stats SA and statistics gathering across the continent can do with a bit of a revamp in that, you can have a bit of a wider scope. You can involve the participants more. Speak to us now about some of those challenges and how you plan to overcome them.
Yes, I think the big challenge is what we would call now big data. There's a lot of data being generated, and we need to look at methodologies on how you can bring all this data to the users. Statistics South Africa as a government department collects about 15 to 20% of the official stats data. There are other government departments, but we think that there's information on the telecommunications that needs to be brought in. For example, the usage of cell phones can tell us who is poor, because the manner in which they use cell phones can give us an idea who is poor in the country. That data needs to be coordinated. I think what is also important from the continent of Africa, for the first time, 52 out of the 54 countries in Africa in the 2010 round of census conducted a census. And what we need to do now, and we are busy with it in a project, to bring all the census data from the continent into one database so that you could see what the statistics look like. We're close to 1.1 billion people in Africa. We need to know where they are, what services they need, who is poor, and what infrastructure is needed.
So you make sure that you get information about women, but how about involving women in the information gathering? I know a friend of mine were one of those who were doing the census, going on a door-to-door campaign here in South Africa. But tell us about the contribution of women in information gathering.
Yes, I think I should start with my team out here. There are 5 of my team that have come. 4 of them are women, and they all have honors degrees in statistics. So it shows again that even Stats SA in the team, that we have a number of young women who are joining Stats SA and performing very well. And I think in terms of our enumerators as well, we tend to look at a gender balance.
Love it. Thank you so much. I am appreciating the fact that you are being the change that you want to see and in the information that you get. All right. We'll have to leave it there, at least for now. Dr. Naidi, thank you very much again for joining us. Valen, I have a big problem here today. You know, I spoke to some of the professors earlier about this voice of mine. They, prescribed the honey, the lemon, etc. And then they said something that was very important. They said I needed to keep more quiet. That is a problem. All right, Valen, before it completely dies on me, take over.
Okay.